Hi ladies and gentlemen, Chet here from Avion Technology here in the Chicagoland area. We are a digital agency that works with other digital agencies to give them a good presence, to help scale them up, turn them around, make them more profitable. We also work with a lot of small businesses to give them a really good digital presence in terms of a good website, good apps, good marketing. Today I'm going to talk about marketing. My focus for this lecture is on online learning companies, especially smaller online learning companies and education companies within the community. So the first way that you can so marketing works on a couple of levels. The first level is awareness, second level is consideration, the third is conversion, fourth is action, which is when someone actually makes a purchase, and fifth is loyalty, right? Marketing usually, when I speak, I usually talk about the awareness level, right? Awareness is essentially, it's a lot like planting seeds. So when you're creating awareness about yourself, whether it's through networking, whether it's through social media marketing, whether it's through an email campaign, it's basically to let people know that you exist, right? That's the whole purpose. Let people know that you exist. Now, you have to do these things consistently. So that's the key, I feel, in marketing, is that you have to get your name out consistently so that when the need arises, people think about you, right? When we look at all the Super Bowl commercials, they are made in such a way so that they stay in our mind. So marketing is all about the stickiness. Marketing is all about staying in consciousness, right? Staying in people's memories. So when you do these activities, remember, it's not about doing all of them for one day and then forgetting about it, right? It's about the daily delta, right? It's about the daily incremental effort that you take. So do these on like a daily basis and you'll start seeing results after a year. First is partnerships. Look for influencers within the community. Look for businesses who are complementary to your business within the community and tie up with them. I have seen, at least for me personally, influencers have helped me a lot. I work with a lot of influencers, micro influencers, and people who are connectors. So what are connectors? Connectors are people who are a node within a social network. These are extroverts. These are people that we all know. They get invited for a lot of parties. They have a lot of different communities that they are a part of. They are on a lot of different WhatsApp groups. Essentially, what is common to all of them is that people trust them, people respect them, and their word counts. So if you work with these kind of people, influencers, right? Not necessarily social media influencers, there's a lot of offline influencers as well, then your name, you get a good word of mouth, but a good word of mouth from the right person. So definitely partnerships is a very good way to have your name spread out in the community. Second is video marketing. Video marketing is very particular to the education sector because I think a video makes something very personal, right? Human brains have evolved to recognize faces and to recognize movement, and a video has both of these. So definitely look at video marketing. See if you can do virtual tours of your campus, virtual tours of your classroom. See if you can have educational videos on the type of courses that you offer. Definitely have infographics. Education, like a website, is an investment. So people will invest in your product if there is a tangible outcome, if there is some linear reward. What is a linear reward? A linear reward is when you take, for example, human beings have evolved for linear rewards. So let's say if you walk 10 miles, you know that you're going to get food. So your brain knows, if I walk 10 miles, I'm going to get food, which is going to make sure that my stomach is full. That's a linear reward. Now, what is not a linear reward? When someone says that, walk for 20 miles, you might get food or you may not get food. And your brain doesn't know how to comprehend that because it doesn't know what is at the end of that. So when you have infographics, when you can show people tangible outcomes, that people who invested in this course ended up getting a salary raise of $2,000, that's a linear reward. People know the causation, people know the cause and effect, right, when that happens. So definitely have infographics. Next is SEO. SEO is, I personally divide it into three types: local, on-page, and off-page. Local is Google My Business. Google has started giving a lot of importance to local businesses, to basically the local ecosystem, right, the local community. So definitely optimize your Google My Business profile page, number one. Number two, on-page optimization. Standard best practices for on-page optimization. Have the alt tags, have the meta description, have the right keywords on all the different pages. Make sure your website loads fast. Make sure that it's responsive. So these on-page optimization things, make sure those are there. And then of course you have off-page. Off-page is blog writing, content writing, submission, directory submission, all these different activities that come in off-page. Next is alumni testimonials. Again, very particular to the education sector, because for you, your portfolio is your portfolio of alumni, right? Folks who attended your coaching, folks who attended your online learning platform, and how they benefited from that. So definitely have their success stories and have their video interviews, and make sure you disseminate them through social media marketing. Last, this is a product, in the last 3-4 years, especially after the pandemic, is AR/VR classroom experience. I personally feel that the traditional education that we are seeing, that we have been brought up on, that's slowly going to get phased out. People are going to go for more transactional education and more kind of, more kind of focused education, right? So, for example, me, I have done my bachelor in arts. Why? Because because that was just the route to go, right? Everyone does a bachelor, so I did it in bachelor in arts. I have a major in economics. Now, in an ideal world, I would have probably loved to, do something more specific than that. I was probably spending less time, but everyone got a liberal arts education, right? So this kind of checkbox education, right, where you just check a box and then you don't apply those skills later in life, I think that's going to go away. Everyone's kind of going to start specializing in things that they like to do, and where the learning is much more focused, where the learning is much more transactional, and where the cost, is probably much more palatable because of these online resources that it's accessing. So I think AR/VR is going to pick up. So if you can have AR/VR of your classroom experiences, I think the best thing that AR/VR does is that it takes the geography out of the equation, right? It takes the geography out of, it's not geography specific. So there's a great lecturer in NYU. I don't know if anyone of you knows about him. I think a lot of you might know about him. His name is Ashwath Damodaran. He's considered a world kind of renowned professor, a world authority on valuation of stocks, right? Then there's Raghuram Rajan. He was the former director of World Bank, or former director of IMF, and he's again an economics professor at Booth University in Chicago. Now imagine a world where I could have attended their lectures, right, when I was in college. What a huge difference it would have made, and I would have paid decent amount of money to be able to do that. So if I could using AR/VR have attended these lectures, that would have been fantastic for me, right? I think that's where education is going to go soon. You're going to have authorities, and this is going to happen everywhere, in med, in law, all different fields. You're going to have authorities, world-renowned figures, and then you're going to have AR/VR and people able to attend their lectures, be able to get an immersive classroom experience. So that's the next trend. So I feel that if you can have subject matter experts or even celebrities or influencers take master classes, right, and have AR/VR, an immersive experience through this, you're going to get a lot of people who are going to sign up. So that in a nutshell is how an online learning company or a small boutique education company can market itself. Now, I'm 100% cognizant of the fact that this is not for the Udemys of the world, this is not for the Coursera's of the world, this is not for the Baiju's of the world, but there's a concept called long tail, right? And I think all of you should know that. What is a long tail? So when we talk about any sector, right, we always talk about the big players, right? Folks who are outliers of some kind. So when we talk about online learning, we talk about Baiju. When we talk about, and Baiju has had its own story, but when we talk of, when we think of online learning, we think of Coursera, or we think of Udemy. But there's actually a long tail in any industry. There's folks who are at the long tail of the distribution, and I'm actually a big fan of the long tail. Why is that? Because the long tail is where the niches are at, right? Niches. If you've heard of nooks, crannies, and niches are within the long tail, and there's riches in niches. So if you're a learning company, if you have something which is so super specialized, I'll give you an example. For example, there's a huge Polish community or Indian community in Chicago, right? Now, let's say the Indian community, they have a lot of parents living with them. So you have parents, senior care, and then you have Indian parents, right? So that's a specialty. If you've ever been to India, there's a lot of different languages, a lot of different regions, a lot of different dialects. So let's say you have Gujarati, right, which is a predominant community here in the Chicagoland area. So you have Gujaratis, so you have Indians, you have seniors, and you have Gujaratis. So if you form a company for training caregivers of an Indian background, then what has happened is that you've identified a niche, right? And then you're operating within that niche. Why am I saying this? It's because I have personally seen in all the businesses that I've worked with, businesses that are extremely generic, are essentially trying to do a safe bet, right? When we don't know what we're doing, we want to spread the risk. But I've also seen that those are actually the businesses that end up being failures. But businesses that actually cater to a very particular niche, I have found their success rate to be higher. So if you're on an online learning platform where you're training nurses, registered nurses, right, for caregiving for the Indian community in Chicago or the Indian community, then suddenly you're at the intersection of an extreme specialization, right? And then your success rate is going to be phenomenally high. So for that boutique kind of firm, for that boutique kind of business, I've created these lectures. So Chet here from Avion Technology. If you like my content, press like. If you want to press subscribe, and please click on the bell icon so you can stay tuned to our notifications. Thank you so much, and you have an awesome day.